We are in the house.
We are not.
It's your boy MK.
We not for sale.
Not for sale.
And I'm in the house with who? Speak.
6 minutes. 6 minutes. West Strata, you
Oh.
Hey.
West Strata in the building. God bless the child with incredible style. You dig that? I'm in the building feeling blessed, highly favored. You know what I'm saying? Been a great week for me. And I'm going to pass it to my right. You already know who it is.
You know what it is. It's RJ Lewis. I'm in the building. Love y'all fellas. Great week for me, man. Celebrated my cousin's wedding. Janelle, you're no longer a Lewis.
Oh.
Jeremy, congratulations. You got yourself a tough young lady on your hands.
Wow.
Congratulations to you guys. And I'm going to pass it to the right, my brother from another mother, Jai Person Lynn, the abolitionist in the building.
Lincoln lawyer.
Man, we out here trying to end slavery. You know, it's your boy Jai Person Lynn, the abolitionist, a.k.a. the Lincoln lawyer. Go check out the movie. You can see how my life goes a little bit day to day. And, you know, we hear what the loved one all the way from Oaktown. Now he real Hollywood.
The town.
Check him out where he at.
Y'all know what I'm saying, though?
What's going on, y'all, man? It's been a long week, man. I'm tired, but I'm glad I'm here with my brothers, man. Hoping y'all doing good and wishing love and prosperity to y'all.
Yeah.
Father Tom, we love you.
And to his right, the one and only Estrada Fitness.
I appreciate that. Hey, Estrada Fitness, J. Wesley Snipes. I'm over here. I'm over here in the dark. I'm over here in the dark skin section.
Yeah,
so that's right.
Yeah, man, you gonna leave Wes out there by himself, huh?
Yeah, man. I've officially.
It's a beautiful thing.
I officially been welcomed into the dark skin club, man. Summer's been treating me real good. Shout out to Plants.
Don't blame it on the plants, huh?
Blame it on the plants.
Yeah.
And to my right is my brother from another mother.
Mr. Tusik. The man, the myth, and the legend.
We're going to keep going with that one.
Yeah. 2-6 still drunk from this week. Just turn it up.
He think Little Jock here. He's speaking Little Jock voice right now. It's all good.
Yo, it's September, y'all.
Yeah.
You know what September means? I guess not. September is the month of snitching.
I got
September equals snitching.
Wow.
Tekashi Snitch 9.
I don't know his name.
Jai Person Lynn. Grab that microphone, brother. I want to talk to you.
Let's talk a little bit.
Man, have you ever seen a dude just give it up like that?
I actually have. And it's, you know, it made me reevaluate my retainer agreements to say that if you're going to turn state's evidence, then you'll need a new attorney. It just felt icky, but, you know, people do things for themselves, and that's the society we're in now, just point blank, period. Especially in our community. I think, you know, it's helped a lot of individuals to be selfish, but it's really hurting our community. And the snitching is just, it's a character flaw. But if we're talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine, man, to be honest, or Daniel Hernandez, he shouldn't have been in that life at all.
Yeah.
He was a rapper, and he should have stayed that way. And the people he's snitching on, I think they have a little bit of responsibility for making this dude think like he was really one of them instead of just, you know, keeping it rapper. He shouldn't have known nothing about nothing.
That's a good
and
point
just
right there.
been rapping.
That's a good point, because too many people giving these people honorable walk-ons, you know, when it comes to a lifestyle that really shouldn't be glorified. I mean, you give somebody an honorable walk-on just because they are a celebrity, you best believe, you know what I'm saying, they're going to show their true colors if things get thick. So, you know, I think we gotta reevaluate, you know, who we allow to represent a culture that, you know, that really shouldn't be glorified, and the fact that it has been watered down, you know, it's really a terrible thing.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, man, because I remember even talking to 2-6 about this when he was posting videos when he was on the incline of his career and the clout chasing and some of the things he would do. And he was like telling a lot of cats like, oh, suck my dick, so-and-so's like talking real tough. And to me, like, it is. I don't find it surprising that he's snitching because I felt like dude had no moral code anyway. Like just seeing like his character through the IG, and I think it's even like crazier right now because I'm seeing the comments of people. Comment talking about, hey, you still gonna support this guy if he gets out of jail? And people are like, hell yeah, I'm still gonna support him. Like, you know, back in the day, you wanted nothing to do with a snitch. And I feel like, you know, this new generation, they're like bypassing all that just because he was entertaining, like an entertaining IG character.
Are those black people saying they're gonna support him? Because there's Tekashi 6ix9ine, I think, will still have a career as a pop artist who raps, but I think he's done in hip hop.
No, well, here's my take on that is, number one, we got to remember, folks, that this is a kid we talking about. He wasn't no gangster, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't, he was just involved in the music industry, and these guys that was backing him made him feel like he was one of them. But in all actuality, he wasn't one of them. He wasn't about the same life that they were about. And it's really unfortunate that they shared a lot of their business with him, or, you know, that he knew about these things. But at the end of the day, what do you expect from, you know, a guy that's not really living that life to you? Do you really expect for him to go to jail for a lifestyle that he wasn't really living? You know what I'm saying? Or do you, like, I don't understand, like, when people say that he's snitching, it's like, if they're offering him time for all these murders, you know what I'm saying? And you've been in the studio for your whole career, you know you ain't murdered anybody, but they got you caught up into a conspiracy. Do you go down for that shit? Do you just say, fuck it, I'm with Treyway or whoever the fuck they are, or whatever the fuck, you know, that the name of their crew is? Do you just say, fuck it, you know, I made a couple million, I'm just gonna go down with them niggas so I can keep it real? Or do you, I mean, how do you get yourself out of that?
I mean, the question is, where do you personally draw the line? Like,
right.
I'm 46 years old. I enjoy my freedom. I'm not trying to go to jail for nobody.
Right.
So at what point do I become a snitch? Do I tattletale just so I can save myself? Is it a question of, you know, if you involved in it, just do your time? Or do you just like, fuck it, I'm grown, I can't deal with this shit?
I think you have to acknowledge the idea of what you consider loyal and why you're loyal to a person or to a crew or to a hood. And I think goes back to piggyback on Jason's point. You know, these days, man, anybody, I mean, we've seen it before. This is nothing new. This is not the first time. It won't be the last time in the rap game that a hood has accepted somebody and unfortunately been labeled as a terrible thing or been labeled as a bad decision because this person is only chasing clout and ended up backfiring on the hood.
Right.
And his life's on the line and time on the line. And what I see from this whole situation that's a travesty, man, is these are young men, all of which had an opportunity to make some money and do some good things for their family. And they chose to chase clout, and they chose to create, which is proven via the testimonies, create situations that made them seem tough, that made them seem a certain way, you know, which is totally irrelevant to the fact that he already had fans that was enjoying the music he was putting out in the studio. It's crazy.
I don't think they were really just enjoying his music. I think they more so just enjoyed the fact that he was kind of like an individual that was willing to go there and willing because it wasn't like, it may be, I may have heard like two of his songs and they're not songs that I can just see how you build a fan base off of. But I think people just, like, it was more so like his persona that they kind of like became fans of.
Yeah, perception sells. I mean, it's not about reality. It's not about the truth. I mean, if he sat there on the stand and said, hey, this was all perception,
right,
and this was all a facade, and they were the real gangsters, right, and I was just a show, it just lets you know that he built his career off clout, and he built his career off the backs of the individuals that he was financing, you know, or really being extorted by to you know, pretty much get fans to make money. I don't see that as so much different than a lot of other people.
If my neighbor beat up his girlfriend and the cops come through and I seen it happen, am I supposed to be like, I didn't see nothing?
Nah. I would.
So we're talking.
To answer MK's question, like if he witnesses like his neighbor, getting beat on by her husband, like I feel like it's a fine line between snitching and just taking accountability and being responsible in reporting. And I think that's what you're talking about as far as like when is it okay to call the authority? Like what's considered snitching? And in 6ix9ine's case, no. He knew the agenda. He knew he wasn't gangster. He knew what he signed up for to get the protection and the clout to go off and jump off the deep end like that and disrespect people and name call, all that. And so it totally backfired, and they all taking this L. They all took L's because what they thought, that clout chasing was working so good for them, and they were pissing off so many people. But as you can see, it just blew up in their face. But in your case, what you're talking about, MK, as far as like taking accountability and responsibility, like, hey, I see something wrong. I need to, being a human, I need to do something to correct this. When is it okay to call the authority
Isn't that like,
or take action?
that's like a civilian arrest, right?
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's exactly what I'm saying. Is so in the community, shit goes down, but nobody wants to speak on it because everybody goes, I don't want to snitch. But if I'm not a part of that lifestyle, why am I adhering to that code? You understand what I'm saying? So is it okay for me to talk to the cops?
Absolutely it is. And it's just like Hollywood said, it is a fine line between holding yourself in your community accountable and being a snitch. At the end of the day, we all have a responsibility to keep our community safe.
But MK they still gonna call you a snitch. Yeah, but you're just gonna have to deal with that repercussions that come along with it, and that's a personal choice. I look at it like if that were to take place, I've always learned to mind my own business, and I've known people to wives and husbands to have arguments and disagreements, and I'm like, you know what? That's not my business. It's not me. It's not my job to intervene because I don't know what went down.
That's true because you also have.
Let me give you a scenario though. Let me give you a scenario. You walking home. You see a husband beating the shit out of his wife in the front yard. You minding your business?
Yeah, because that's her.
Hold on. I want Jason to answer that.
Yeah, and am I driving by or am I walking by?
You're walking by.
Okay, so I'm probably going to do something to help out the situation, but it's probably going to be more in the sense of, all right, let me put hands on him since he put hands on her.
Well, Jamers, I had a situation similar to that, and I asked Jamers about it.
But I'm not calling 911.
I know, and me and Jamers had, we talked about it where I seen a young lady getting assaulted by a man, and I intervened and assaulted that gentleman, and that young lady intervened and began to get upset at me.
Exactly.
And asked me why I assaulted her man, which made me feel like a fool.
But I like to explain myself and why I feel that way, though.
What way? Which way?
Well, domestic violence, I don't get involved in that. So if I happen to see something like that occurring, I am going to mind my own business. Because let me tell you why. First of all, domestic violence is one of the scariest calls for a cop to go to. And he's coming there with an AR, okay, and several handguns, and he's scared, okay? So me, I'm walking down the street, and I'm seeing a fight occurring, and a lot of times what end up happening, and this has happened before, sometimes you break up these fights, and it's even turned family, away, and somebody end up going to jail, and guess what happens? These people still end up being together. And I'm not saying that this is okay for everything or that this happens with every situation, but it's a 50-50 chance that you can get fucked up in this situation.
Yeah, with me, man, it's not no woman is getting their ass whooped on my watch. Point blank, period. It ain't no fine line. It's nothing. I mean, if they having an argument, that's not my business. You know what I mean? But if I'm like with what Chris presented, I can't watch a female get her ass whooped. Exactly. And I have stepped in before. And, as Jason said, I didn't report it to the police or nothing, but, I diffused the situation.
Why wouldn't you call 911? What's the big deal?
I think the big deal is 911 might be too late.
That's her decision.
And when it comes to 911, I never believed in 911. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to that, if we're going to have to solve it, it's going to have to be then, Okay. And I really think that in that situation, if a guy or a woman is beating somebody up, you don't know how quickly that could escalate, so you have to act like in a timely fashion. I don't have time to call 911.
And
I
also,
want to go to Hollywood real quick.
And I'm not a 911 caller.
And that's all. That's her decision to call 911.
Nah, I was just gonna say, I guess, like, when is it okay to call 911? Because I like you, like, I'm not a 911 caller or
medical
whatever.
emergencies.
But like, growing up though, is it that you take full responsibility of these situations because it's happening in your presence?
Right.
That to bypass 911, and just because we grew up with the way we grew up and don't believe in calling them. And so we take on that responsibility of, saving or attending or, helping out whoever's in danger, or it's just like 911 is just out altogether.
Yeah, it's out altogether. I think I've called 911 one time in my life, and that's when my daughter was born at the house, and we needed a paramedic on site. And that's the only time that I have ever called 911 because I've always felt capable to handle a situation and resolve it. If it occurred on my watch. That's me personally, but I understand that there are individuals that might jump to conclusions when they're looking at something from a distance, and then they call 911, and now you might be taking the situation and putting it in the police's hands and asking them to make a decision based on you saying, oh, it looks like that guy over there is doing, this woman over there, it looks like they're breaking it. People have called 911 on me before, on me before, and I wasn't doing anything wrong, and I feel like that the way I was treated was almost if I had done something wrong.
Let me stop you for a minute, because so we're going a little to the left, and what I want to get down to, because I'm not sure I want any of you niggas living next to me. Let's take away the fact that, somebody beating on a woman or whatever. If there's a crime, you see shit happening, when do you call 911?
What's the crime?
What's the crime?
It could be a kidnapping. It could be a kidnapping.
Now that's something totally different.
I mean, but that's a crime though, dog. Like we're saying, when is it okay to call 911?
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Are you going to put yourself in that responsibility to save or stop what's going on?
Absolutely.
So you Batman. So y'all niggas are saying y'all Batman and Captain America.
Let me tell you, when it comes, first of all, when it comes down to a child, when it comes down to a child is not able to defend themselves. A child didn't put themselves in that predicament. Someone stole that child.
Women and kids
so that's
are
something.
bad examples.
No, they're not the same. We don't know what happened in that situation, and you don't know what that situation gonna lead to. So you mind your fucking business and you go on, because it's a 50-50 chance. Police, are you not hearing me? Policemen are scared to come to these calls. Okay.
We're going past that call because I don't want to lock into that. If somebody is breaking in your neighbor's house across the street, do you call 911 and say somebody's breaking this out, or do you just stand there and look? So you can snitch
you
there.
You can call them, yeah.
You snitch
Okay,
there.
That's not snitch.
Jason said never. Jason said
he never calls 911.
Never.
You gotta call
911, dog.
You can't go over there and
So
shoot.
what do you do in that
situation, Jason?
What do you do?
I'm gonna probably call my neighbor.
Okay.
Shit.
Your neighbor's
getting
gone.
in your
He's
shit
out of
right
town.
now, but don't trip. I got their license plate, so after you get off, we're gonna go up over there.
Nah.
That's happening.
All that shit will be gone by then.
And AMG, right?
I don't want this
real, bro.
This is the
I think
reason
to be
why
realistic, you
I got all
got
911 needs to be the last thing that we do in these situations. The reason why is that policing in 2019 is not for public safety in our communities. It's for profit. So when they come out, they're coming to look to justify their presence, to justify their budgets. So when somebody calls and we're all standing out there, now they asking all of us for our ID, and we like, damn, I just got here. I'm not even a witness. Now they want to search everybody's car. Now they got called out for domestic violence beef, and nobody gets arrested for domestic violence, but they got 4 arrests for guns and drugs because they doing all this extra snooping. That's why 911 needs to be the last thing. But in those kind of seeing somebody breaking into your neighbor's house, that's a little different scenario, right? Because it's not like person to person going on right now. So that's a little kind of different scenario. And the reason why it's not snitching, it's only snitching if you agreed to watch this motherfucker back while he breaking in, and then you call 911.
And it's a lot of
that's
variables,
snitching.
too.
But but you know, in these interpersonal interactions, and people just see two people talking loudly, and then somebody calling 911, you know, that's to me going too far. And I think we have too much cowardice in our communities. Somebody has to step up and have some kind of heart to try and step in and resolve this issue. And I'm not necessarily saying put your life on the line every time, but at least give it a shot and an attempt. And, you know, be like, look, bro, I ain't calling 911, but if they come, it's going to be a problem for you. Is it really worth it? And sometimes, like the Disneyland video, nigga was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to jail tonight.
Yeah.
And in that
That nigga needed to be arrested, dog. Like
yeah.
fighting in front of all them children.
Well,
Come on,
he,
dog.
Yeah, but I would've stepped in
He
on that,
needed to
too.
be disciplined.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is whether it's arrest, and that's when you call 911, they're not looking to do what's best for our community.
Exactly.
Nah,
At the end of the
absolutely.
day.
Whoever was out there,
When is-
whoever was out there videotaping really need to get disciplined too.
Well, that was
You know?
probably a woman.
But they're just doing what you said that was doing. They're not stepping in. They're just, you know, taking note and then passing it to, you know, the
I
people.
didn't say that. I said I would definitely intervene and
Yeah.
put hands on old boy.
What
Let me
said
tell
if
you
some- if
something.
they were
It's funny
stepping
you
on
said
somebody.
that.
Yeah,
When you're dealing with somebody who's at a range like that, it's 100% chance that neither one of you niggas is gonna be fired up as they are.
Yeah, but it's
So
no,
you're-
if I see a woman
There's
getting
no
her
way
ass
it's-
beat, I'm fired up more
They're
than
already
anybody
on
you can
10,
imagine.
nigga. You just seen it. You can't get
You
to 10
wild.
that fast.
I know.
Nah.
I know.
It's
a
not
pressure,
possible.
I know.
You
a
don't know
pressure-
where their mind is going.
It's a pressure point right around the.
Oh, man.
I've been
like
there.
under the mandible.
You niggas done watched too
touch
many
that
kung
and
fu
it's-
movies. They
it's-
got
Nah, I've been
security
in a
guards there.
situation.
I'm talking about real life shit. You niggas watch too many movies. I'm talking about real life shit. Domestic violence is not nothing to fuck around with. No. I'm telling you, it's not nothing to fuck around with.
So here's the thing. So I had a situation, right? You know what I'm saying? I actually had to step in and be that diffuser. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I didn't call the police is because that's her decision. The reason why it's her decision, she may not want him in jail.
See what I'm saying?
So,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I still diffuse the situation. It's not my responsibility to call the police, you know, and it's like, I feel like I can give her the option, like, you can call the police with her if you want, but I'm gonna let, you know, you go, you know, if you feel safe right now, go ahead and go with your, you know, business. And, you know, that's how I feel. When it's come to breaking in people's house, most people got alarm and a ring shit. You got to use a level of discernment anyway, because the police going to be notified anyway.
Right.
And let me talk about one thing I experienced, man. I was at court, still working at the public defender. This might have been 2011, 2012. And I seen these group of black women walking out, and some dude that was coming from the probation office saw him, was like, man, y'all some fucking snitches. And the girl was like, I ain't no fucking snitch. My homegirl dead. The nigga said, fuck that dead bitch. Now, at the time he said that, old girl was like, nigga, what you saying? This was one of those like bully type brolic girls. Like she was built a lot like Jamers. And she came in and she like stole dude. And I was like, hey, I went up to him like, hey bro, just back up. It's gonna be bad. If you respond, you know, it's just gonna be a problem for you. So I saw what happened. Just, you know, if anybody needs to say something. Now she kept going though, and came up and socked me in the motherfucking jaw, like cold-blooded, like I was with this nigga or something. Like I'm like backing him up. I turned around, she like, bam.
Yeah,
I'm
that'll
like,
happen
oh, shit.
Yeah, you got to
And
get
now-
in and get out, Giant.
Now, but it wasn't even no time. Nigga, she was turned up because he said, I mean, just think about somebody, your homie freshly dead, and you like, fuck that dead. It's-
Freshly dead, or they been dead 50 years. I mean,
It don't-
it's probably
yeah.
gonna get the same reaction.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but-
But I'm pointing out when the sheriffs came, because it's their duty to patrol the hall. Well, no, it's actually the LAPD's duty to patrol the hallways. Sheriff's duty to handle inside the courtrooms. So when LAPD came, like, you want to press charges. For me, like, I could have, and she could have got assault or a battery charge, but that would have been too much for the situation. I mean, she swallowed my jaw. Let's be clear. Like, and I had ice on the shit.
But you know, if you press charge, she would have been out in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it would have been a misdemeanor at most.
man.
And you know, dude was wrong as fuck.
Big
And
Shirley
I was
coming
more
at you.
like, you know, I was just an innocent bystander. But I when they asked me, I'm like, nah, I'm not trying to press charges because it just would have been too much. And that's what I don't think people consider. They think like 911 is coming coming to help defuse the situation. No, they're coming to ensure that next year, when their budget comes up, they have enough arrests to justify the big ass budget they're asking for that next year.
So the moral of the story is, y'all can't live next to me.
I mean,
Don't call 911. Call the homies.
I mean, to bring it home though, Mike. To be honest, you have the right to do what you want. When people are talking about snitching, they really talking about, do you got paperwork on you? To be honest, and keeping it in the context, you calling, just trying to, save your community, save your neighbor. That's. People ain't gonna be like, oh, he snitched. He said, oh, he a snitch, man. People ain't gonna be, mad at you for that. Nah, ain't nobody.
Told them.
It also depends on what type of profession my neighbor is. Because if my neighbor is a drug dealer, okay, and I'm calling the police saying that somebody's breaking in this nigga's house, and I know that this nigga's a drug dealer, then that may go bad for him too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta kind of use your head as far as what you're gonna do. That might be the call that you need to call your neighbor. But if you got an 80-something-year-old lady living next door to you, you know what I'm saying? You call the police, Jason.
All right. So moving on to more of our discussion. I want to turn serious for a minute and get into this conversation about bullying. You think so?
I sat in that 3-hour process.
There was a young man at a middle school in Moreno Valley. His name is Diego, and apparently he's been bullied for a while. And it was on video, and there were 2 kids that attacked him, punched him. I think he fell back and hit his head, and now he's in the hospital kind of fighting for his life. And I never really gave bullying much of a thought because, like y'all, hopefully, when we grew up, there was no such thing as bullying. I never heard the term, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit older than you guys, so I don't know, but I never heard the term bullying, but now it's become a thing to the point of where people actually kind of care and they want things like that to stop. I mean, there was always somebody bigger and badder than you growing up, and you either had to deal with it, fight, or, take another way home from school. But now it's actually a thing, and most of us have kids. So I wanted to kind of get y'all take on, were you ever bullied? I mean, when you look back on it now, was it bullying or was it just growing up?
I mean, I definitely think it could be classified as some of the things I experienced growing up, maybe as bullying. I always kind of looked at it as just like, man, somebody just trying to fuck with me. And to stop them from fucking with me is I got to defend myself. And it's either you got that person respect and they stop fucking with you, or you got your ass whooped and they was gonna keep on fucking with you. But you know what I'm saying? I'm glad to say, 9 times out of 10, if somebody was messing with me, I got them off my back. But I think that, in some senses that, creates who you are. That kind of like prepares you for the world. Not everybody's gonna like you. You're not gonna get along with everybody. But I mean, in this case though, being ganged up and physically abused, that's on another level of bullying. That's like getting jumped.
I think when it's systematic to where the point where they're saying like this has been going on for some time.
Right. And I think when what I was always taught was if you saw somebody getting bullied and you knew them, and you would go over there and help them out, and be like, yo man, you gotta chill, because I always looked at myself as the bully's bully, because I wouldn't let I don't care who it was. I didn't like other people getting bullied, and that's something I was really big on, especially growing up. If I saw somebody else just picking on somebody just because, I'm like, man, why don't you pick on, somebody your own size,
right?
And I think that what we really have to start teaching kids is how to stick up for one another. Because on a basketball court, especially, you get into team sports, and you see guys all the time. It's like the guy gets pushed into the stands, and then it's like two people from the team, two people from the team that don't move, right? And then the guys are looking at it like, hey, bro, like, you supposed to go to war with me. If I go down and they trying to gang up on me and you not even moving, like, how am I gonna trust you to get out on this battlefield in war. And I think Kobe Bryant actually said like a really good quote where he was saying that sports is a good metaphor for life and how to deal with it. And we deal with a lot of trash talking and bullying in sports. But I think that that's actually real because you kind of do feel like you out there on a battle. And if there's not enough guys on your team that's about that life, then you might not even want to be on that team anymore. You may want to, to consider, switching teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think sports is a great metaphor for life, but it also teaches you that there are people that are weaker than you. There are people that are stronger than you, but you shouldn't take it easy on anybody. I think one of the first things that I learned as a young man was that I had an opportunity to always rise to the occasion because there will always be somebody who thought they were tough. Right. And all I had to do was identify who I believe people thought was tough and to challenge that person. Mm-hmm. Whether I won or lost, I knew that just challenging that person was rare and people would respect that, and I took that to heart and I still take that to heart to this day. I'm very, as you brothers know, very defensive of everybody, all of my friends, all of my family, everyone around me is my responsibility in my mind. And I've never been afraid to lose, which is the interesting part about being bullied. The one thing that I'm always telling my son is that losing is not your concern. Your intentions are your concern. Let God deal with the outcome, but be prepared for whatever transpires. Whatever's about to happen, be prepared. If you get into a fight, you better go all the way. That means that until somebody pulls you off and restrains you, you better have a really good reason to get into a fight. And that's how I feel. As grown men out here in this world, when we get into it and lock horns with another grown man, I'm always reminding myself that I have to be prepared to die if I'm going to lock horns with another man. Mm-hmm. And I believe another man should feel that way when he sees me and he desires to harm me or lock horns with me. Mm-hmm. And that's how we all should take the aspect of bullying. We should take it seriously in terms of, being prepared to always defend ourselves and be prepared to be tested.
But I also want to bring up another point to where nowadays bullying is reclassified, right? Like I think a lot of things, it's kind of gray where it's to like what bullying actually is.
Right. Yeah.
Like when we were growing up, it was more physical.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because I would say that me and Busted, we could be perceived as bullies because we were the two type of individuals that like to shoot jokes on people, and we would do it until you cried.
James, you were a bully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would definitely say me and Busted would shoot jokes, and you guys know this. We would shoot jokes.
So now you have that, and then you have it, like you said last week, you have that on social media.
Right.
And you have people being exposed in front of the whole world.
Right.
So now they can't just go to another school and just start a new, just lane and everything. But I think it's really affecting people's mental health to a certain point, which is like classified as damn.
We never seen it that way though. Like we knew that we fucked around like that, and that's something that we always did amongst each other.
Well, that's because you're a fucking scumbag, Jack.
But there's somebody out there right now, like that's doing real well in like New York or something, and y'all forgot about him, but y'all his motivation to do well because y'all talked about him this whole time.
Probably
and
so.
He can't wait to come back to the 20 years stun on you niggas.
I mean, probably so, but I think in life, like I think my dad always just told me, you know what? Those are words that people are saying. As long as you don't put your hands on me, whatever I'm saying, it shouldn't affect you in any kind of way to where you cry.
Well, he lied to you.
Hold on, guys. I'm gonna allow Ray to have the floor. There's a Bible verse, isn't that, Ray, about the
sticks and stones?
No, just go ahead, Ray.
That one.
Hey, listen. There's a variety of words that blend into the idea of how words affect people.
What is the one that Jason talking about?
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
It's all through Proverbs.
He's trying to listen. He's absolutely trying to attack, my word of God.
It says that that the tongue is mighty powerful.
Oh yeah, I mean the power of the tongue. But however, what's key in terms of word, I'll drop one for you. Is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. That's a very important scripture to hold on to, because a scumbag like you, James, would have never affected me as a kid because you're fat.
Hey, James wasn't always fat, for one. And two, I think we do, as much as we talk about bullying and what happened to the young man Diego was wrong, I do want to know the other side. Like, is he an asshole? Like, is he walking around like, you two broke motherfuckers ain't never going to have shit? Fuck y'all. And then that was the retaliation, or were they just bullying him because they didn't like him for some asinine reason, right? So we do have to see if there's a flip side, because I was the type...
Always the defense lawyer.
No, but
right?
I'm just saying, it was a time in high school where I was in the corner up off my feet by these two basketball niggas that had me, but it was strictly for my shit talking. And it was, so I talked so much shit to everybody, but it was crazy because the football team came in and saved me, but not on some that's our homie. It's like, nah, we be whooping his ass, so he ain't gonna let y'all. And I was actually happy that they came, but I talked shit to everybody, so I couldn't call myself being bullied just because they was bigger than me and was fucking with me,
right?
Because I put myself in that position.
Let me ask you this: why did you talk shit to everybody? Was it because they always picked on you?
Well, it was kind of just a fun thing. Like, these are people I played with since kids. So now we in high school. Everybody got bigger. I didn't, but I still, that was my way of letting them know I feel like I'm still on y'all level. Yeah. Let me talk this shit. And now it's all love with all these people. Right. But what I want, as much as we talk about bullying, we also need to talk about conflict resolution and standing up for yourselves, because what we're getting to in this tell us when you're bullying and don't handle it yourself, call a teacher, call the police, call some, it's just that let me run to the government for protection. And that's now in the future, these will be the super 911 callers because they don't know how to resolve issues within themselves.
I mean, a little something to nourish your soul, boy.
I want to speak on, back to the point at hand, just like all the kids that, don't necessarily talk shit to other people to get picked on. Those that are coming to school with, tattered clothes or have a lisp or maybe gay or whatever the case may be, and why they're getting picked on.
Or they may not have that many followers on Instagram or that many likes.
Yeah, it could be all of that, and you could pick and choose what you want to make fun of. And I agree, like James, like I came up, capping, talking shit on each other, and I feel like that's a good method, and you do that with your friends or sometimes, with the dorky kid in the class. But that's how you kind of get it like a thick exterior, like tough skin. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But not everyone is built like that and wired like that. And in some cases, these kids go home really heartbroken and emotionally damaged and have thoughts of like suicide and stuff like that because of being bullied.
And I also want to expound on the social media impact of bullying, because nowadays there are things that are completely out of your control that you can be bullied for. And for example, how many followers you have, how many likes you have. These are things that now kids are out of control. These are out of your control. It's not like, if the whole wave is moving towards kids that are popular at school and you're like kind of short on that list, it's not like, okay, it's not like how we grew up, like everybody like, yeah, you ugly, your mama ugly, but you still could be walking around with the cutest girl on campus. You know what I'm saying? And I think that nowadays kids actually take that to heart because they do spend a lot of time on social media more than ever. And these things are happening more and more often.
So the thing is, like, around this table, I get the feeling there's a lot of alpha males. And what we're talking about is the people who are not alpha males. I mean, we're talking about the problem,
right? But
now this is like, what we would do, what this, that, and the other. But like, the real solution. What is the real solution? Is it, teaching our kids in the home something different? I mean, like, listen, every kid is not as tough as us.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and this is becoming a real problem.
And real solutions is teaching everyone should be able to express themselves to someone that they feel comfortable And that's a big problem. A lot of these kids are in foster care and dealing with adults that don't give a fuck. So they don't have that outlet to express themselves. Like Angelo, basically my stepson, right? He's a little fella, hella smart, real confident, but I'm thinking like, man, when he goes to high school, if he don't grow no more and he's just known as a brain, he's like the prime kid to maybe get bullied.
Right, he's a target.
Especially if he gets in one of these, bigger high schools where these kids got real money and whatnot. They might bully him because he don't come from that kind of money. So how do I prepare him for that? And what I constantly do is, reinforce his own greatness, but also let him know, like, express that. Speak your mind. Tell us how you feel.
That is a huge point.
Yeah,
I think
teaching self-love in school is very important.
Big point, man, because like I said, I was one of those kids that didn't mind talking shit and I remember a situation to where one of my school teachers, used to always witness me talk shit to other people and crack jokes on people. Witness me have these type of dialogues with other students. I remember asking him, hey, why is this bus always here in front of our class? He's like, oh yeah, your mom drops me off every morning in front of my door. And everybody thought it was hilarious, right? But like, seeing that this is the teacher, you're not expecting for him to crack the joke. So like some people would get a little offended by it, but to me, I thought it was great. I'm like, this nigga never met my mama, you know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a question. And I hate to cut you off like that, but seeing that you might have been a bully. No, seriously.
Yeah, fucking scumbag.
So what was going on in your life that you felt the need to, I don't know, you got something out of making fun of other people? Like, were you trying to prop yourself up? Because I want to get into the mind. Part of it is getting into the mind of a bully,
right? And
I got one in front of me. Like, what was going on in your life
right in front of you
that made you feel like? Because it's more than just like you wanted to laugh or whatever. But like, right. What made you go through that?
Well, I was always one of those kids that wanted to be grown. So I spent a lot of time I didn't really spend a lot of time like around kids that was my age. I spent a lot of time around grown people.
Shout out to Justin.
And so yeah, shout out. You see, Justin's going to do the same thing.
Right.
So I seen how grown people interact and how they would shit talk, and it would be no big deal. And and then it was like one of those things where when you're young, you want to be cool. You like, I want to feel like I can hang out with them, and if they say something fucked up to me, I can't go in the corner and start crying because I want to hang with these niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I had that mentality all the way into like high school, or it was nothing that you could pretty much say to me that would just make me like upset or cry or anything. So I had thick skin, and busting was even worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? This is just what we did, as teenagers.
That's why
I kind of agree. Like, because certain times, like, I would feel like I was a bully in certain situations, and I would tell you what's going on in my head. Like, it was either because, one, I may have felt like threatened. Like, who is this cat, coming in here and thinking he this or that, whatever. So, what I'm saying? It was almost like a way to challenge him, right. To kind of, attack his self-esteem and say like, man, you ain't getting with me, you ain't cool like me or whatever. Or another thing is just find a weak target to feel better about yourself, to big yourself up, in front of like the kids or whatever, or to make the pretty girl in class laugh or something like that. It's I think was those two things.
I'll never forget, man, and this is how crazy it was growing up. We had a kid at our school. And if this kid is still around, this dude is still around, man. Shout out to Boo Boo Face, but everyone called him Boo Boo Face.
What? How do you shout out a nigga's name that's already?
Bro, I never. To this day, I don't know his real name. His teachers called him Boo Boo Face. The basketball coach called him, right, Josh?
Facts.
The football coach called him Boo Boo Face, and all of his friends called him Boo Boo Face.
How did he feel about that?
I don't know. He actually
responded?
he was cool. He was responsive to it.
But do we know how he felt about that?
Like, my homeboy
like I
Dirt
said,
Rock
I
is
don't-
40
I
years
haven't-
old.
I
He
don't
still
know how-
responds to Dirt Rock.
I don't know where he is at this moment.
Right.
But
Shout out to Dirt
this
Rock.
is like I'm in the 9th grade, right? My brother in the 11th grade, and they like a boy name is Boo Boo Face, and I'm like, man, I can't call him Boo Boo Face. They like, no, that's what we call him. His name Boo Boo Face, and I always thought like, dang man, like this dude name is Boo Boo Face.
Yeah, and some people just have that light sense of humor that they'll be like make light of the situation, and like they might just I'm boo boo face, like that's how it is as kids. In high school, if the person is who you're gonna offend, who you're not gonna offend, who you can joke with, who you cannot joke with. Like James said, we was all shooting on each other apart, but if you too sensitive, I mean, we ain't gonna still keep attacking you. You know what I mean? Right. So it's a certain level. I think
James
of judgment that
we weren't.
I mean, no, nobody is going to keep going at the person where he's crying every day and going home to his
Well,
mom.
that's why
and
it's
everything.
so important, man, to teach our kids to have confidence.
Yeah,
I mean,
before compliments.
when you grow up in this world without confidence, you lack confidence, you're going to be attacked, and you'll have no weaponry, man, to attack back. A lot of the times, man, when you have confidence, you don't have to say a word. All you have to do is act, and people are always going to be willing to pay attention to what you're doing to make a sound judgment on what they feel about you. But I've seen the most interesting people just be themselves, and all of a sudden they're trendy.
Right.
All of a sudden they're cool. A lot of these people that are influential nowadays, they're not the best looking people, or they don't have the best this or best that, but they're themselves. They're very unique, and people are very fascinated by that. So they're considered to be influential. So
Right.
confidence is very important.
How do you, as an adult, deal with bullying? Like, for example, your kids, they're going to be going through the school system. As a parent, when your son comes home and say, this kid's messing with me or I'm being bullied, then how do you as a parent deal with that?
I think first and foremost, you got to make sure you instill in your child what's cool and what's not cool. I do remember being 4 years old, and I was telling my dad a story about how this kid threw sand on me, and I had punched him a couple of times, and he fell in the sandbox. And I thought it was cool to brag about stuff like that to my dad, because I looked at him like he was, a superhero. Like, my dad hit me with a gem, and he said, yeah, but you don't want to be a bully. That's not cool. That's not something to brag about. And at that moment, I was like, wow, like it's cool as I thought that would have been, watching Batman or the Batman TV show, Robin or whatever, watching wrestling growing up. I thought that would have been something cool. It taught me a valuable lesson that, real men hold other men accountable. And I think that with my son, I have to make sure that, he understands what bullying is, and understands if you do feel bullied or threatened at any point in your life, you need to make sure that there's a safe place you can come, and you can always talk to me. You can always talk to your mother, and we'll help reinstill that confidence to you. And
I'm up there at the school, hollering at them parents.
So that brings me to my next point:
Like I said earlier.
what is the responsibility of the school in all of this? And
They have to address
specifically to Diego's point,
Right.
where they were saying they've been going to the school.
See,
what is the school's
I would
obligation?
say it's not the school is
gonna do
not responsible.
They're 100% responsible.
But
I'm not going to the school to talk to the administrators. I'm going to the school to figure out who's picking up this kid.
And they're going to arrest you.
That's bullying my kid, and we're going to address that kid's
That
parents.
sounds-
Okay,
that
so let me
sounds
go like
good.
this. I want to go 1, 2, 3 because these are different points. So, Ray, I want to start with you because you said the school has an obligation.
Absolutely.
What is
the school 100% has an obligation to investigate the matter and to communicate with both parents, most of the time separately. Most of the time they don't give you the information of the child that's considered the bully or is considered the victim. they separate the children and they talk to you guys individually. But the school does have a responsibility to keep those kids safe and to make sure the environment is conducive for education. Now, when it comes to, we all may feel that we can address that kid, which is irrational. We all may feel like we can address those parents and handle it ourselves, which in this day and age is not necessarily fair or acceptable because we don't really know what's going on.
Jai, I want to go to you because your point is to address, and then I'm going to come to you, Jason, but your point is to address the kid themselves?
Yeah, well, not the kid themselves. As the adult, you don't address the kids themselves, but you definitely find out who this kid's parent is and the adult in this kid's life, because more than likely that parent's going to be like Jason and Wes' dad and be like, hey, bullying ain't cool. And they're going to address it with their child. And we had a similar situation. It's a kid at Angelo's school who is certainly not rich, might be poor. I don't know. But, and Angelo's like, man, nobody really talked to him. We invited the kid out and we saw just certain things, and it came down. We had to let Angelo know, like, you better not be the one talking about this kid straight up and down.
Right.
Now, that kid might not be able to address it the way, but we should be able to go to those parents. And you don't have to be irrational to confront somebody, right? You can go, hey, this is what it is. These are kids, because the bully is a kid too. The bully likely does not understand the impact. It's just a game to him. Uh-huh. And if you explain it like, man, this is causing real pain, the same way as if somebody punched you in your chest and they was too strong for you to stop them, you wouldn't like that. And then maybe that kid could get it, but it's just a game to him up until that point. Now, after addressing it at that level does not work, then maybe you go to some administrators and keep them separate. But at the same time, you got to teach your kid that you can't always run the people.
You can address somebody else's. First of all, you're going to track down a kid and wait for his parents or whoever picks him up to have a conversation with them. Immediately, you're putting yourself, in a legal situation.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So
especially a little guy like you, Jai.
I want to go to
they're fire on you. You look like a little kid.
I want to go to Jason, because you're saying the school has no obligation.
The school has no obligation. The reason why is because as a parent, you have to tell your child that life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it. Typically, if somebody is bullying, you have to explain to your child what's actually going on psychologically with that child to where they feel like they have to pick on someone else. They may be insecure. They may have something inside of them that they're not comfortable with, and that's why they're trying to bring that misery upon others. Misery loves company. So you then have to let your child know, okay, it's your job and your job to keep your cool, and based on how you respond, that's how you will be judged in the future, because this goes beyond school. When you go, the job is the parents are supposed to prepare the kids for life, right? Now, you can say, all right, the school is responsible. What happens if it happens off campus? Or what if they're at the movie theater and this same thing occurs? You still have to teach your child how to learn how to react to things. Oh, you know what? Man, don't even let that faze you, because they probably suffering something that's deep within them where they don't know how to express. And maybe they don't even have a mom or dad at home, or maybe, one of their parents isn't around to give them enough attention, so they feel like they need to try to pick at you to get that attention. Don't play into that energy. And if you teach your kids that, man, they'll go far in life, very far.
I got a quick question to that. Okay, now I've been through an incident like this with my son, okay? He knew that the little boy that was having a confrontation with him was a little off. He knew it. So seeing that he knew that the little boy was off, he didn't quite want to hurt him. You get what I'm saying? So I get a call from the school say, hey, we're very proud of him because he used his judgment and he knew that the little boy was off and he did not want to hurt him. At the same time, the the conversation I had with the school is I said, look, I'm not teaching him to be a cupcake, okay? And what I also teach him is that if someone puts your hands on you, you finish it until someone comes and gets you off of that person.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
And I told her, I said, because like I told the
Shout
school,
out to Malcolm X.
this is a dangerous neighborhood. The school where he was at said this is a dangerous neighborhood. I'm not going to tell him to go call you or no principal or anybody else, because at the end of the day, he got to walk through these streets and you're not going to be around.
Right.
So at the end of the day, he needs to know how to defend himself, and he's going to go all the way, because I'm not raising cupcakes. He's going to go all the way until somebody either physically come get him off of you. And but I like I told the principal, he's not going to put his hands on anybody first.
Right.
But if someone put their hands on him first, he has my permission to go all the way.
But I think there's a difference. I'm gonna let you get in there, Josh. But I think there's a difference. We all teaching our kids to defend themselves. We're not shying away from that. But in the case of the systematic bullying at school, if the school knows
It's their responsibility.
that there's something going on and a kid is bullying other kids, if the school knows
They
that,
should be held. They should
has
be
to
held
be
accountable. They should be held accountable.
Yeah, it's to be
and I
addressed.
think with the confidence level that I'm teaching my son, there's no such thing as bullying him. Period. Let me tell you why. My son is going to see anybody challenging him as a challenge, not a bully. No one is going to overshadow his mentality. See, you have to be, you have to allow yourself to be less than to even be bullied.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
You have to have a mentality of being inferior to even be bullied. And just to Jamer's point, I'm not allowing my son to even think for 1 minute that he's deficient in any area to even be picked on. There's no area that he can even be less than. All someone can do is challenge you or test you. And to your point, MK, I fully expect him to utilize the skills of conflict resolution prior to physicality. But when physicality is necessary, he better go all the way.
Yeah,
Better go all the way.
And one thing I want to say is actually, we have to, like Ray just said, you have to deal with the child in the household. Then it comes to the community. To answer your question, Mike, I see it as a more of a community issue, because when I had I was coaching this kid. He was bullying everybody on the team at school and everything. I was like, so I had a conversation with him. He was like, my dad just, got locked up, what I'm saying, for this amount of time. What I'm saying? My brother just left, the house, and he was dealing with a lot of pain, and he had lost his sister to cancer. So it was a lot of things going on in his life where it forced him to expose his insecurities on other people to be that bully. And I think when you teach self-love in school, I think it is a responsibility to implement that in schools, in mental health centers around our communities. All of that, if you talking about fixing this on a global scale, has to be done
Right.
to fix this bullying issue.
I all the way agree, because I feel like when you look at from that point of view, that makes perfect sense. We have to stop catering to the victim, and I don't say that to offend anyone who may have been through something that's trill, but I feel like we all have. But I also feel like that there's a insecurity issue that exists there as well, and that's a mental health issue that many do not talk about. Mm-hmm. In the bully itself, he's actually going through probably more than what he's actually trying to put off on someone else.
Sure.
And so I think that instead of just catering to the victim, let's actually put maybe set up a curriculum where people are focused on self-love and knowing how to love themselves, because if you love yourself, there's no way you're going to bully nobody else. Obviously, kids grow up with all types of insecurities. So
Now, Jay, have you had this conversation? Because EJ is like the prime kid to get hated on, right? Like he's handsome young man, long curly blonde hair. He lives a life of just like dopeness everywhere he goes. He got all these
DNA,
and so I could see like another kid at school just mad. Like EJ gonna be coming to school. Ooh, I was at the Laker game. Ooh, look. Miss Brown. This is me and Shaq. This is me and Kobe. And I could see other kids getting mad. How are you preparing him for that potentiality, or do you just let it come as it comes?
Yeah, I don't even deal with that because he knows right now that everybody is on an equal playing field. You know, he doesn't look at anybody bigger than the other. He told me the other night, you know, this is my son we're talking about. He said, Dad, thank you for, you know, making sure that I have a lot of uncles, you know. And I was like, wow, like he actually said that. And what that means is like he knows that he's always supported. He got that love. He got that circle around him. So that instills his confidence. So it's nothing that he can go through in life and he feel like he's alone, you know. And I think that with all kids growing up, the last thing they want to feel is alone. So that's why I said typically the bully is a kid that may not have that support at home. And to me, that's the kid that I feel for the most in terms of mentoring.
That's a very strong point, man. I mean, for my son's birthday, I reached out to all of you guys, and all of you brothers sent my son a video wishing him a happy birthday, shared a few words with him. And just like Jason said, he was blown away that all the brothers just remembered his birthday, and all the brothers were really just supporting him in terms of the things he's doing. And we, you know, we have a group text, and we share a lot of pictures of what our kids are doing and family aspect things, and all of these things go into that confidence level. All of these things help us all, you know, just be reassured that the things that we're doing are being supported and uplifted. And it just allows you to understand that, man, nothing is minuscule. Whatever you share is important to everybody else. And a lot of the things that's going on in the community in terms of bully has a lot to do with, like Jai said and like Hollywood said, it's really all about communication and like Wes said, love.
So we just want to, you know, send good well wishes and prayers for little Diego. You know, hopefully
stay up, Diego.
Keep your head up, Diego.
And I just want to say, fuck you to Rodney, because Rodney took the fucking ball in the 4th grade and kicked that shit away from me. Grave Street Elementary School. But I tell you what, Rodney, fuck you, because I'm hosting a podcast now.
Hey.
And I'm working in television, and I don't give a fuck about that ball you took, because Rodney was a motherfucking bully.
Giving them bars right now.
But I had to fight Rodney.
Get it off.
I had to fight Rodney.
Get it off your chest.
And guess what? Nigga never took the ball again and kicked that shit away. So do your best to stand up for yourself. We not for sale.
Not for sale.
Shout out to DT.
Fuck Rodney.